Hello, this is Robert Schoenberger with IndustryWeek, and recently I attended the Hannover Messe trade show with colleagues Rihanna Begg from Machine Design and Dennis Mecca, also from IndustryWeek. We saw a lot of manufacturing technology, from automation systems to machining systems to lasers to software to just about everything. But what we really saw over and over again, humanoid robots.
I did go and see the Hermes Award winner at Schaeffler's booth. Had a really good conversation there with a man by the name of David Kerr, who is the president of their Humanoid Robotics. An interesting conversation because what they're focusing on, and the reason they won this year's award, was for their platform, the Actuator platform. That includes high-efficiency servo motors with integrated power electronics and encoders. So what's so unique here is that it's configured with two planetary gear units or shaft-mounted gear units. Why? So why is this important? So the objective in the development of this technology was to improve or to achieve maximum installation space with high continuous torque. Okay, let me unpack that just for a second. So they improved the installation footprint or reduced it by 20%. That's really quite significant if you think in terms of humanoid robotics. It's also designed for rapid scaling and its form factors. The materials used, the other important thing was the copper full factor. So for lightweighting, which is really important in humanoid construction. The other thing I can tell you about that platform that they were able to reduce the gear systems by to about 500 grams less in mass than and improvement in efficiency. And another nice stat that I got from that conversation was he said that 50% of the bill of materials hardware cost of a complete humanoid comes from the Actuator platform. So that is pretty significant benefits or achievements and efficiency gains that they've had with their win this year.
This is the first time we've ever been to Hannover Messe. I saw hydraulics, bearings, connectors, electrical equipment, precision casting, grinding and coating services, injection molds, data platforms, pneumatic tubes, cabling. I even saw roller wheels, like roller skate roller wheels, but large. It's all here, and there's tons of people doing all of it. That said, it's a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. I'm made to understand that the organizers want everything condensed this year, and there seemed to be, made to understand, fewer exhibitors. So between the two of those things, I was able to walk the whole floor, so I'm glad this was my first one. I didn't think I was going to be able to do that. In terms of interesting things I saw, I'm mostly focused on humanoid robots. Humanoid robots are going to become my new, what do you call it when you're kicking something when it's down, you're always beating it up because you don't like it? What's the phrase I'm looking for? Whipping boy. Yes. Humanoid robots are becoming my new whipping boy. We're going to move from AI, go to humanoid robots, because I think I saw all of them at the show. And I asked people, what makes your humanoid robot unique? And a couple of times the answer was nothing. I appreciated the answer.
To Dennis's point, there were a lot of humanoid robots on the floor of Hannover Messe, and most of them were really small, child-sized units, really, more designed for marketing and approaching people in malls than doing hardcore industrial work. There were a handful of industrial units, and I talked to several people who talked glowingly about what the research is doing right now in terms of preparing for a future in which humanoid robots will take a big part in the industrial space. That said, not everything was all that wonderful, and we talked in depth to some people at Siemens about their thoughts on humanoid robots.
At the end, it's extremely valuable to have a humanoid form factor. The whole world, as everybody's saying, the whole world is designed for human, right? We designed this chair for us, we designed this table for us, we designed the transportation for us, we designed the factory pipeline for us. The whole world is designed for human. So if you can create a machine that acts like human, looks like human, of course it will be very, very valuable. Now, until you reach that at a reasonable cost, it may not be their starting point, though. You might have more value on the short term for a machine with a wheel, as you saw on the show floor, because that's easier to move around. If you replace the legs or the double pedal, you can actually put in that thing the battery, so you can have a bigger battery, and you don't have to deal with a lot of stability issues because these things keep it more stable. So there's a lot of concerns about the feet, for example. So that's the first thing that you might want to think about compromising on in the short term and say, okay, maybe I start with maybe something that moves on wheel as a starting point. And then when I solve the problem of battery, when I solve the problem of balance and all of this stuff, maybe I go to the humanoid. But my strong belief is that the humanoid, as you can see it online today on all this YouTube video, is the right form factor. It is the right target. And eventually when we create that at higher cost with good battery lifetime and all of these things, it will be the right goal.
What function does the torso serve on a humanoid shaped robot?
So what do you want to replace it with?
Let's use the example of the cobot that's on the floor right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't need a torso. All it needs is the arm. So what's the torso? If you have a humanoid robot, now you've just added a torso, you've added an extra arm, 2 legs, and a head. You just made the robot much more complicated than it used to be.
It's true.
So why do that if you can use a simpler machine that only has the functionality it requires?
Yeah. So I think you're absolutely right, again, on the short term as we get into that. And I go back to the question that this whole world is not designed for these new machines, it's designed for us. So that's why we're trying to get to a machine that looks like us, because it makes it possible for us not to change everything around us. If you look at this machine that you see now without a torso, it's just arms on a moving wheel. It's perfect for certain function. It will help us in the short term. But now as you start thinking about, does it fit in every area where humans are working on today? Probably not. Does it fit in the transportation system that we have for workers? Maybe not. Does it fit in, there are lots of things that are designed around us as human. So, and as I started, it's really a value versus cost. So for today, I think this is a good machine to start with, and it will help us in addressing so many of the use cases. But if we can reach another level where we can create a full humanoid form factor, I think this is the right eventually target for us.
On the flip side of that, the other thing that I did not see much of, we saw lots and lots of humanoids, is the quadruped robot, like Spot. I did see one, and I talked to someone, about what they were being used for. Like, are they still as popular as before? And they are, especially when it comes to safety environments. Sniffing out gases that they're used for. The vision quality has been improved, that I've been watching year over year, so they're able to do more things in using vision technology and artificial intelligence, learning from models and what different types of things that they can sniff out, pardon the pun. So that was pretty interesting. But yeah, it's humanoids all the way.
I mean, they literally have a. Can you get it, Robert? We're in the humanoid robotics section, which made my job a lot easier when I go around and make fun of all the human. But no.
What I would hope not. I think.
Did you get that?
Another blooper for you, Robert.
Oh, I thought it fell. I thought it fell by accident.
That's a good recovery.
Yeah. They're all so small. Like, that was one of the differentiators. Is a company over there. Yeah. They made one that's 165 centimeters tall, I think, which is roughly human height. Yeah. It's the only one I've seen. They've all been small. I understand that. So we want to create this thing that looks human, but it's tiny. Most humans aren't tiny. So just, I don't know. I don't understand a lot of the logic behind it. It's fun to watch them fall. That's always good.
I actually went and asked, the humanoid robotic maker, are you going to be improved? How have you improved over the last time I saw this? This really was just for demonstration. The fact is that everybody is delving into it. They need to understand more about it. They're learning about the technologies and the components that go into these robotics. And right now, I think I certainly feel that I've seen a whole lot more use cases. Not out of the pilot stage yet, but many more places where you could potentially have a humanoid do pick and place. Still doesn't account for the form and function.
Yeah, that's the classic example. Someone showed me a robot that was doing pick and place. Said, but yeah, you could do that with a 6-axis robot and a camera. Why do I need this thing? No answer. I never get any answers from anyone.